Hello, I'm Andrea Vona, the Executive Director of the Palos Verdes Land Conservancy, and we're here on this gorgeous sunny day overlooking the Upper Filiorum property, which was recently acquired.
And the excitement about acquiring this, we refer to this piece of property as the last piece of the puzzle that the Land Conservancy helps put the deal together to create this incredible preserve for the community.
Absolutely. We did refer to this in a lot of our literature as the missing piece. The visuals on the maps of the existing preserves before this deal was completed, there was a gap. Preserved land, gap, preserved land. And so now we're going to be able to modify all of our materials and have this fabulous contiguous preserve. This brings us to about 950 acres contiguous, which is such an amenity for our community.
But the preserve is, of course, also bigger than that. I think when we were talking with Joel, it's what, almost, is it more than 1,200 acres or 1,400 acres?
It's 1,400 acres.
Let's just go to start with the Upper Filiorum purchase, this latest purchase. A lot of players involved. The Land Conservancy, obviously, led the fundraising efforts to make this all. Talk about how all this came together. It was a $6.5 million purchase.
Yes, it's been an incredibly collaborative effort for years and years. Many people involved and a lot of energy and creative energy, human capital went into making this work. It was a $6.5 million land acquisition deal. The State Coastal Conservancy provided $5.5 million of those dollars towards this acquisition. They believed in this as an important linkage for wildlife and also as an important coastal access point and connection point for the region. The city of Rancho, Palos Verdes provided $600,000 to the deal, and the Land Conservancy, through the community's amazing support, provided the last $400,000 to create the $6.5 million purchase price.
Okay, so that you've got the purchase price, but of course the Land Conservancy is you're always fundraising. You've always got lots going on, and but in terms of you still need to raise money in terms of being able to now take this new parcel of property and manage it and restore it or whatever you're going to be doing.
Absolutely. So what we did in October, after it was very clear that all the pieces were in place and this was a sure thing by the end of the year, we launched a community campaign for $1 million to raise money for both the hard sale price of the land acquisition and also to recognize that there are costs associated with managing the land, restoring the land, and also to integrate this land into the overall preserve and to recognize that there also were costs associated with some of the losses from the August wildfire.
Yeah, so talk about how you will integrate this land and sort of what's going to be here. I mean, is there a lot of native habitat or?
There's a good deal of work that could be done on this property, but there also is a lot of native habitat and value. And in general, we're in an area that has a lot of biodiversity in Southern California, and it is very rare to have this coastal. And so it's incredibly important to preserve, and then anything we can do to help it along in terms of restore it, to increase the biodiversity and the carrying capacity of the land, we will work on.
So as we begin 2010 here, what are the first steps you'll need to take now in terms of just prepping this property? What will the Land Conservancy be doing in the next, say, months?
Well, one of the important aspects is the city does own the land as the title holder, but there's when escrow closed, a conservation easement was also recorded along with the property, and the Land Conservancy holds that easement, and it's in perpetuity. And what it does is protect the conservation values of the land. And so one of the first steps for us is to go through what we call a baseline documentation report, and it captures the boundaries of the land, and it's a photo documentation record of the land at the time of the easement being recorded, and that's something that gets monitored long-term over the years to protect the conservation values of the land. So that's one of our initial tasks that will hit the ground running with this month.
You have a lot you're juggling with the Land Conservancy. Of course, we're referencing behind you. We can see the burn area, which, of course, unfortunately, we witnessed that horrible wildfire back in August of 2009, and we lost 180 acres in that wildfire. What are you doing there? Obviously, it's closed to the public right now.
Well, certain trails through the burn area are closed, but overall the preserve is open, the Portuguese Bend Reserve. We have done some control on invasive species, some of the most aggressive species such as castor bean and fennel, and we have been compiling seed mixes and getting the container plants ready for some plantings later this season as well, some native plant plantings.
In terms of just this whole entire preserve, I mean, you've been with the Land Conservancy now as for 7 years, and executive director for a few at least, a couple years. You've seen just so many changes, so many exciting things happen. This must be a huge highlight for you. This final piece of the puzzle coming together.
It was a phenomenal way to end 2009, and it was. I mean, but it was, as I said, a lot of years of work, a lot of dedication by many, but it's fabulous to have this all be put together. And now we can, as the Land Conservancy, focus on land stewardship and focus on education. We have a lot of fabulous education programs as well. And so it feels really good, and to work in this community where people clearly have a passion and they're willing to advocate and stand up for what they believe in, is such a proud place to work and to offer service to. So
in terms of having so much open space, this has been referred to, like now with this whole entire preserve, it's larger than, just to give you a perspective, of New York Central Park. And I had asked you, where else along the coast in California can you really go and find this kind of open space? Where can you go?
Well, this is one of the largest coastal preserve properties in between the Santa Monica Mountains and Mexico. So it really is a regional asset. It's something that is not easy to come by in Southern California. So we're very proud of this moment.
Anything you want to add, and in terms of just any other exciting projects too that you're working on with the Land Conservancy? I mean, you've got the butterfly restoration, you've got lots going on.
Well, we welcome the community out on February 13th to the McBride Trail. We will have a public nature walk from 9 to 11, and we're on the McBride Trail now, and this location is where the Land Conservancy held their first nature walk 19 years ago. So it's a celebratory walk. It's kind of a historic anniversary walk. And so if you haven't been out here, come check that out.
And in terms of being part of history in the making, I know a lot of the recent news articles and whatnot to celebrate this purchase. You had the founders and the people that started the Land Conservancy 20 years ago. I mean, when the Land Conservancy first opened its doors in, I think, 1988, people were thinking, no way are you going to make this all happen with the open space.
I mean, it's been amazing perseverance, and I think just an amazing vision to say, okay, let's map, let's catalog what's remaining, let's kind of put it into some assemblage that makes sense, and let's work toward that. And I mean, Bill Ayler as our founder, just to have that vision and to be able to continue to advocate and to garner support and to become a very incredibly credible community institution. We're so proud to all be on board.
And going back to how this whole deal came together, I mean, we also read about the fact that there was a lot of pressure on to make this deal happen by, December 31st. Why that deadline, since so many other deadlines had elapsed?
Well, every deadline was a critical one, but we knew this one had to stick. It was the deadline for when the purchase and sale agreement would expire. So if things weren't able to all be put together by then, the purchase and sale agreement would expire, which would mean everyone would be back around the table negotiating, renegotiating. And you never know. When you're back at the table, there might be changes. And the other thing is the state money was, we knew that we would be good for this year, but as time goes on, as we're all aware with the California budget, it might have been less secure into the future. So that was, and the $5.5 million was an incredibly critical component of this deal. So we knew we had to make this work. So
you made it all work. For our viewers watching that really haven't taken advantage of the preserve, obviously you guys do hikes monthly, things like that. What would you recommend for someone watching just to maybe get introduced to this area, to come take a hike on a particular trail? What would you tell them?
Well, I encourage people to check out our website, which has our monthly nature walk schedule, which is www.pvplc.org. And we also have a Best Hikes book, Best Hikes of the Peninsula, which provides information, maps, and parking for a variety of different hikes. And so I think that those would be my two top recommendations, just to get out there. We also have volunteer days most Saturdays if people are interested in participating in planting and weeding and things like that, getting out. And it's such a gorgeous day now, so we'll see as the season continues.
And again, that date, February 13th, what's going to happen? You're going to take the community on a hike along the McBride Trail, and where do they start off from and all that?
You can check out our website for the most up-to-date information, but also the walk will meet at the end of Ocean Terrace, and it will be from 9 to 11 in the morning, which is a Saturday, February 13th.